Thank you for joining us here at Prosperity Trade, where we discuss everything trading and investing related. In this video, I just want to do a recap of a discussion I had with an investor relation person from MP Material, and why after that discussion, I'm way more confident in this company. I've increased my position, and I'm extremely bullish for the long hold on this. So here's a quick recap of a little bit of our discussion.
And oh, by the way, Jim does not take a salary, by the way, and he does not get equity compensation like you go to any other company, right? You know, Zuckerberg gets paid a salary, a big one, right? And he gets paid, sometimes they get equity awards every year. So Jim doesn't take a salary. So, this was kind of par for the course. It's a modest-sized secondary, and I would not read much into that in terms of Jim's commitment to this company, because again, all of his wealth is locked up in this company.
Okay. I think my final question, it seems like based off what you said, a lot of investors have a misunderstanding.
So let me just recap the points, because we spoke for about 30 minutes. We kind of went in depth about each stage. Stage one, where they dig for the earth mining and they sell that material as is to China, and they're profitable with that. Stage two, where they're currently at, and they estimate that sometime next year, but definitely beginning of 2023, they'll be fully operational in stage two. And stage two is where they should get a big revenue boost, because they go through the process where they extract the earth mining, then they separate it, and they kind of like go through a process where they mill it and bake it, and they're able to sell it. And it was something where they mentioned that if they spend about $15 to do this process per kilo, they can sell it for about $75, almost doubling their profits. So that's going to be a big catalyst once they get to stage two. So that's why this is a good long term. This is not a pretty short term, flashy spike up $20, $30 in a couple days. But overall, according to their estimates, in a few years, they should be trading at 70. And according to independent research from CRU, they should be trading as high as 120, 140. And I'm somewhere in the middle. I definitely believe they have the capability of getting somewhere there. So just a quick recap of the most important things that made me more bullish. The first thing we discussed was the timeline. They're on track to complete stage two. And in 2025 plus, they also have the goal of being able to do their batteries. Whether they partner up with someone or make the batteries here in the United States, they'll be able to complete that hopefully by 2025. And one of the questions that was in the comments, I believe it was Mr. Law, he asked about kind of like the competitiveness with China and how they're going to be able to compete with China prices when China is usually cheaper in everything that they do. So I asked him that specifically, and he actually said that their earth is richer with that NdPr, and I don't remember the exact amount, but let's just say you dig up, you have this earth and you dig it up. Most places have less than 2%, 3% of that earth mining material, and they have to kind of dig it up and just to extract that little bit amount, which is the case in China. Theirs is extremely rich, where I think he mentioned something about 15, 16%, a much higher concentrate. So they have a lot more of it, and it's a richer amount in the dirt that they dig when they extract it. So he said that they can definitely compete with China prices. They're going to be cheaper. They're going to be here in the United States. So when they get to stage two, they're going to be able to provide the material that they extracted and separated and sell that to China, sell that to whoever makes the batteries, and probably be just as cheap, if not cheaper, than any of their competition. So that's nothing to worry about on that aspect. Whether there's a tension between China or not, we're still going to be able to be competitive with any of their prices. When we get to the battery portion, that's going to be hard to tell. He said there's going to be too many variables at that point. So, but as far as the extract and the earth mining material, they're definitely going to be competitive. Then I asked about the recent insider selling, And basically they said that the person, the president and and some of the investors, they sold just a very small stake. And some of the investors that invested money, they have to recoup some of their money. And he mentioned that this is normal 99% of the time, nothing to look into, and that most employees own stock. So some of the people that are invested, they have a lot of money invested. So there's no need to worry. It's really a great sign when you have so many employees, you have the CEO, a lot of investors highly invested in this company. Another thing I asked him about, I asked him about, where does he think where do they think they'll get most of the revenue when they get to the point that they can make batteries? And again, he wasn't able to answer that part because he said there'll be too many variables. It'll depend on the EV market, on all those things. Because I was thinking, okay, are they, when they get to stage 3, is the bulk of their revenue going to come from still selling the separated NdPr material, the earth mining material, to China, or is the bulk of it going to come from batteries? But either way, it's what it is as the years go on, they're just going to be completing these tasks, and basically it's just going to be another source of income. They have a lot of cash on hand, and they're profitable. And every year, as they complete these stages, it's just going to add to their revenue that they're already making. So they're already making revenue from just selling the raw material at stage 1. When stage 2 comes, they'll make another source of revenue. Their revenue will be higher because they're going to separate it, going to go through the process, and that's going to bring in a lot more revenue. And then when they get to stage 3, it's just going to be another source of revenue with the batteries being sold. So there's, even if stage 2 is delayed, they're still making money and they're still profitable from stage 1. So that's something that's great to hear. I asked about when they took over MP Material and that land, why the first company failed. And kind of, I actually heard it from the CEO himself. He said in a different interview that they were too ahead of their time. There's just there wasn't a large market for EV materials. There wasn't a need. They were just way ahead of their time. They made a big investment and it wasn't ready. It's not like now, like you see everything is transitioning to EV, green energy, the windmills, all those things will be big factors towards making MP a very attractive company to be invested in. So I think MP Materials, regardless of what's going on with the macro, regardless of if it dips, I really wouldn't be concerned about that. Usually if you're doing a short-term swing, you want to look at the technical analysis, you want to look at the macro and see if it's a good trade to get into right now. This is just not the case. I really feel like this is the company that, hey, buy 1,000 shares, buy, whatever amount you can afford, and just don't worry about it. Let them do their thing. They have great leadership. They have great management. They have a great team. They have a great vision. They have great investors. So I see nothing but great things for this company. And of course, anything catastrophic can happen. Maybe EV world doesn't work out, but it just doesn't seem that way. It just seems like they have a lot of things going for them. So that's why I actually, after I finished talking to the investor relation person, I actually increased my position in the stock, and I just want to hold it and not worry about it, and maybe reevaluate it after like they get a boost from completing stage 2. And that's kind of usually like what I do with long-term investment. Swing trade is a different beast, and we will give swing trade alerts, but this type of stock right here, kind of like this one and Palantir and EXAS and some of the other stocks I've spoken about, these are long-term holds because they're going to be disruptive. They're going to be leaders at what they do. And I really have the most confidence in this company right here. So that's it. Thank you for joining us. If you like what you watched, please hit the like, subscribe, and watch some of our other videos. Thank you again.